Wouldn't it be comforting to review the options for you and your family with an objective financial partner? At RIA Advisors, we're here to help. From severance pay, tax timing decisions, to how to maximize unemployment benefits, the RIA team wants to make sure you can do what's best for your family. There's no charge for a consultation, so reach out to RIA Advisors, 855-RIA-PLAN, RIAadvisors.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Into Lance Roberts, Rich Rosso, CFP, and Chris Behan.
Extraordinaire.
We're here to help. We're not from the government. So we're going to have a great presentation coming up in August. Inflation Nation, Thursday, August 4th. We're going to give you, a real 9-step inflation battle plan, Danny and I. But since Lance is not here, we're going to play you a ditty. We're going to play you some music. We have come up with our own Inflation Nation theme song.
I think it's
courtesy of the talented Brent Clanton. So listen to the words, everybody.
I love his voice. I love his voice.
Great
he's
song.
Awesome.
Inflation Nation, such a conflagration, paying more for stuff throughout the nation. Inflation is erosion of our purchasing power, makes things cost more, and turns our moods sour. Inflation Nation, it's too many bucks chasing too few goods and piles of stuff. Inflation is a tax that hits all consumers, and if you think it's transient, that's just a rumor. Supply chain disruption was more than temporary. Add federal spending with easy fiscal policy, plus war and drought and the Great Resignation. Is it any wonder we're an inflation nation? Inflation Nation, where does it go from here? Will we still have to pay more for lottery tickets and beer? A stronger dollar should make imports cost less, but wages won't keep up, leaving things a mess. You can form a battle plan to fight your own inflation. Make a micro-budget list of things for your situation. Don't buy a bunch of stuff or take a long vacation. Just keep the status quo. It's an inflation nation. What a conflagration. Paying too much for stuff throughout the nation. Where will it end? Nobody knows. Inflation Nation keeps us on our toes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is.
There's a rumor that at the next Biden press conference, they'll be playing that song.
It'll be the theme song.
I was there with Brent Clanton when he wrote it. He's a young buzzard, that buzzard corn pop.
A buzzard corn pop? What is that?
I don't know, but does he?
Well, that's what I was going to say, but you took my punchline. Hey, Rich, you got to let me do the punchline, man.
Okay, you do the punchline.
You can't do both sides.
All right, so this is, again, our 9-step inflation battle plan that's coming. So we want to make sure you tune in because obviously you're going to have to rewrite this song probably by middle of 2023, the end. Deflation Nation. Because demographics matter. And the older we get, believe it or not, the less we spend. Danny talked about the retirement smile. And that was a term coined by David Blanchett. And it's true. There's this active spending in retirement. That's the first part of your smile. And then something sort of happens. you sort of fall into a groove. You're not unhealthy. Everything's fine. But you don't travel as much. You do things closer to home. And you're healthy. And your expenses just sort of go along. And you wind up spending less. And then as you get older, obviously, with healthcare, long-term care costs, that other part of the smile forms. So that tends to be a very deflationary view. But for now, it is inflation nation, and we have to deal with it. So I was on this, I don't know why, this Facebook group, and it was about Jeff Bezos, how terrible he is, because he's a billionaire, and it's no right for him. He doesn't even have the right to the money, but he doesn't have the right to exist, which is a new spin, Chris. It's not even that he doesn't have the right to the money because his daddy funded him. So that's a bad thing, right? His daddy funded him, and he then turned $250 million into the fortune it is today. So I would say that was a pretty good bet on your son to form Amazon. But he is being vilified along with all the other billionaires. So New York decided to take a stand. How would you like to bite the head off of your favorite billionaire? How would you like to lick Elon Musk? Well, you can, because they have created ice pops. And these ice pops are in the form of the faces of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Jack Ma. So it's a Brooklyn artist collective called MSHHF. Don't even want to know what that is. So it's selling these miniature and scrumptious titans at Columbus Circle from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you'd like to visit New York, take your life into your own hands, and get yourself a Jeff Bezos pop, please feel free to do so.
So you're promoting your Brooklyn peeps.
These are cool-looking pops. I am going to tell you, they do look like Jeff Bezos. The Mark Zuckerberg one is creepy as heck. So, Brent, maybe next time, instead of bringing you anything from Buc-ee's, I will get you a Elon Musk pop.
I would imagine they're all sour flavors.
Nice.
That's very good. I wonder what happens. Do you recycle the stick?
The question would be how, but we won't go there.
You know what the Tasty Art Project is called?
Yeah.
Eat the Rich. And guess what? It's only $10.
or 40 cents.
So we're going to hate those billionaires, but I'm going to collect $10 a pop from you. So that's coming up. So interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about the recovery of jobs and where the share of all U.S. jobs have been located, or at least a good percentage of them, and that has been red states. So this is analysis by the Labor Department, data by the Brookings Institute think tank. Red states have added, listen to this, Chris, 341,000 jobs over that time since February 2020, while blue states were still short 1.3 million jobs as of May. And you think about all the companies that are moving their headquarters, right, from blue to red states.
Easily.
Right? Chicago to Miami, Illinois to Texas. So I don't know what's going to stop this progression. It's absolutely wreaking havoc with house prices in Texas and property taxes.
And same in Florida.
And Florida. Florida has become incredibly expensive. We used to love to go to Florida or live in Florida because what the house you were able to get moving from New York. Think about why so many retirees go there, right? And now, I think Miami is one of the priciest markets. Tampa, Florida,
Sarasota,
where my daughter was
Venice.
born. That's an incredibly pricey market. And I can remember when you were able to get a house dirt cheap.
All right.
So this is the states that have gained the most migrants, right? Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, right? No income tax at all, right? No state tax. But the point is, even Tennessee, I have friends in Nashville, they said, Rich, you would not believe the house prices here now. It is becoming, for current residents, unaffordable, especially when it comes to taxes. And you have to calculate this when you retire. Which state are you going to retire in? For those people that are looking to migrate, the costs may not be as cheap anymore as you think. You may like, say, the political climate better. You might like the weather better. But it used to be that, hey, I'm moving here to lower my cost of living. And right now, that's not the case.
Yep.
So you might have to get even more creative where you go.
It also might depend on the city you go to in a state. So a less desirable city. And
Absolutely.
There's Orlando, for example, in Florida, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, stuff like that. It'll cost more. But if you go to someplace like Tallahassee, it might cost less.
But it's, you know what? I looked like even like Jacksonville, Tallahassee. They're not that much less. So it seems like it's very uniform. Yes, there are the hot spots.
Agreed.
But everything else seems like a warm spot. And I'm seeing that in Texas, even in the more rural areas where you would think, why would anybody want to live here? Now, I would, because I'm not me and people. We don't get along. But I'm seeing those house prices go up dramatically.
And property.
And property tax. And property. So it is amazing if you want to purchase land. Listen, I was in Luling over the weekend. If you haven't had the City Market barbecue, you're missing out.
Were you thumping melons?
The melons were boiling and crying for mercy, Brent. I listened to a melon and I heard, help me, help me. It was 120 degrees. I do not kid.
Really?
My car thermometer said outside temp. Now, I always understand the temp's going to be higher, but I've never had it in Luling in the summer at 120 degrees.
Watermelon broth.
Wow.
120 degrees and you step out and it's like you're on the edge of a furnace.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Pizza oven. It's a pizza oven.
It's a
feel.
pizza oven.
I have a friend who used to own a restaurant, and if you go by the pizza oven, you can feel it.
I'm going to tell you, though, best barbecue ever. If you haven't ever been there, don't even say a word, Chris, because you'll be tossed out of the radio show.
Okay. Fine.
Oh, I really like Rudy's. Okay, Rudy's is fine. I really like...
I go to the original one.
They're all fine.
No, I go to the original one in Leon Springs.
Okay. Well, at least you're taking a trip to get the best barbecue. When we get back, we're going to talk about Social Security and, again, this bear market activity I want to talk about with Chris that I think you'll find important when we get back here on The Real Investment Show. Stay tuned.
Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Every day this week so far, CNBC. Markets in turmoil. Every day. Yes, we know. We get it. Markets are in turmoil.
Is that like starting every newscast with breaking news?
Yeah, CNN recently is making some changes. They're actually going to stop using breaking news as much.
The Real Investment Show podcast. Same show, your schedule.
They broke the breaking news. Not every story is breaking news.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Not every story is news.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
Have market gyrations caused you to lose sleep? If so, it's because you have more risk in your portfolio than you realize. It's time to reevaluate your long-term investing strategy with RIA advisors. Our disciplined approach can help eliminate unnecessary risk. If you think it's time to work with an advisor who puts your interests first, it's time for Real Investment Advice. RIAadvisors.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Now, I will tell you, the fastest growing population in Florida is a cult. It's called the Villages. It's like in Central Florida, they suck the retirees in and they never leave.
True.
The 2020 U.S. Census said that it has the fastest rising population in a metropolitan area in the U.S.
The Villages.
Yeah. I still listen, I was a broker in Miami and Sarasota in the 90s, early 90s. And I still remember the Villages commercial in my head. They ran it so many times. It has population has grown by 40% since 2010.
The Villages people.
The Villages people, yes.
Listen,
Villages,
it's got everything. Everything you want is within it. So I have a client that lives there. And I said, hey, do you ever leave? He goes, nope. Restaurants are here. Golf is here. Everything's here. And I'm like, holy moly. So it is still the fastest growing community for retirees. If you want golf and you want all these activities and you can own a patio home and so forth, the Villages is the place to be. So now, there is still, see, Chris, there's still hope for you, man. You can live at the Villages. I bet they have, I know they have their own newspaper. Listen, we all can move there. I bet they're going to have their own radio station eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm not moving back to Florida.
So this was pioneered by Del Webb, and obviously we see a lot of Del Webb communities popping up in Texas and everywhere else. So, but they have not caught on, even though they get a lot of attention, and a lot of older Americans do live in these communities. The Villages is the one that seems to get the most attention.
Well,
Isn't it 55 plus?
Yes.
It takes the Villages.
It takes a
It takes the Villages to raise a senior.
A senior, yeah. Great. Well, they used to have stuff like that in New Jersey. It's called Crestwood Village.
Looks like they even have their own cemetery.
Who knew?
Ouch.
Makes sense.
Okay, Rich.
Soup
okay.
to nuts, man.
Soup to nut. Okay, Rich.
Never leave the villages. I never leave my house.
Womb to the tomb.
Okay, guys.
All right, so we're in this bear market, and obviously it takes a toll on our emotions. And it's all about feelings today. No rules, no critical thinking, just feelings. Oh, feelings. But feelings are important when it comes to investing because money's emotional. You can't discount it, but you have to be aware of it. And you also have to find a way to work around it and not take it out on your portfolio. So, Chris, I know you talk to so many people every day.
Easily.
All different age groups, too. You talk to a wide swath of subsectors of the economy and groups and work. I mean, you're
geography, economics. It doesn't matter if they have $10,000 or $10 million. I'm chatting with everyone. Different parts of the country. Some people calling from different parts of the world to get information from us. It is very, very diverse.
Is there a common thread of communication that you get among all these?
Because of the
volatility,
yeah, absolutely, Rich. The volatility is just making people, and they actually use the word jumping off the ledge. They used to be able to do it themselves, manage their own money, but none of the rules that we historically have talked about work anymore, and they don't know. I think their biggest fear is knowing when to jump into the market, and more importantly, when to get out of the market. And that's what Lance and you guys do here so well, is really monitor the market as well as individual stocks and also ETFs.
Well, and keep in mind, you got to remember, you're throwing an emotional sort of connotation here. We're not jumping in the market or coming out, right? We are working around
indicators,
what the market is telling us, right? There are rules that we follow. And listen, we are willing to change the rules if they need to change. I mean, I don't mean change the rules completely, but adjust according to the environment. But we let the market tell us what to do, because a lot of calls even that we take, obviously as advisors, is people absolutely know where the market's going. They don't have an opinion about where the market's going. They absolutely know. And I'm like, well, how did you gain this intelligence? And why shouldn't I be working for you? Because obviously you've got all the money if you know exactly where the market is going. That is unrealistic. And that's something called recency bias. Whatever the current trend is, you think will continue forever. Our job is to avoid that. Our job is to look at the data. Yes, we study past markets. And I will tell you, this bear market is orderly. There's nothing unusual about this bear market compared to any other bear market I've ever studied. The problem is we have a lot of people don't believe that bear markets could ever happen. And if they do, the Fed's going to come in on a white horse and save us all. And what if they don't? So the volatility, I don't think we've seen anything yet, or maybe this is what it is. But you're right. You're probably talking to a lot of people that may have just started to invest in the last 12 years, Chris.
Agreed. And then the folks who have been investing for a long time are concerned that if we have too much government intervention, what it's going to do to their dollar. So,
well, obviously, where the dollar is today, people wonder. Obviously, inflation's eroding the purchasing power, but it is king dollar. It's, how many times I have to say to someone will say to me, the dollar's collapsing. I'm like, have you looked at a chart of the dollar? It is not collapsing. And this sort of goes along with Lance's premise that money will come into the United States as fear builds. See, but I think what's going to make this bear market a little different is I think the fear has to smolder a bit. And it happens all the time. We go through this denial stage, but this one might last just a little longer because people are so gripped to believe the Fed's going to come out and save us all. And I have to help people understand is, what if that's not the case this time? One, you don't get that V-shaped recovery. Yes, you get recovery, but it could take 2 to 4 years, not 2 to 4 months, as when the Fed comes in and bails everybody out. Yes, could there be some form of quantitative easing to take the pressure off yields? Look at the debt. Look at our debt to GDP. I get that. Higher interest rates, we're already seeing real slowdown in the housing market. We're seeing demand destruction across the board for commodities. Look at copper, look at lumber, Look at steel, right? The market is screaming at us that things are slowing down. That part's not unusual at all. The emotional grip to the Fed, though. It's like that ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend you let get away, and you're trying all these ways to get them back. I think investors are in this strong denial, big D phase, of wanting to believe the Fed is going to bail them out. And I have to help people understand is, what if that's not the case? That's a real market. And that's not a bad thing. The issue is how do you station the portfolio that you own for the goals? How do you match up to the goals that you have and ride it through? Listen, if you look at some consumer staples companies, we just talked about Pepsi, food and beverage, utilities, defensive sectors, they've held up. It's been a very orderly understanding of markets. Tech has been destroyed, right, as inflation has crept up, right? We're looking through the rubble right now, Chris. Like, we're trying to see where the opportunity is going to be. I know Lance's fundamental screens are screaming at this point with even some tech companies, but technically they do not look very good. It's sort of like what happened with energy stocks a year or two ago when Lance was like, I saw him at his desk. He was like salivating. I thought maybe he was eating breakfast. He was looking at a screen of energy stocks. Oh, look at these. Oh my gosh, they're so cheap. But the fundamentals were there, right? But you have to have a rule to understand when to buy or when to build a position in a fundamentally strong investment. What else are you hearing besides the volatility? Now, the political risk, before you continue, the political issue obviously is important, right? More government intervention. You probably have a lot of business owners that are concerned. And Michael brought this up on the show last week, that we actually are starting to see spending being curtailed by the upper echelons of income groups. And that is rare, very rare to see that. And I do think, Chris, that happens to be due to, one, the thought of more government intervention and taxes going higher, and the state of the executive branch. I think lack of faith is really squelching the animal spirits of the wealthiest.
Yes, the animal spirits. What I've also been hearing is, as people are getting ready for retirement, they're looking, and you said it earlier, which state to move to, right? Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of states. We know who they are. We know the players. Folks are looking for places where they don't have to pay an income tax. They have better quality of life, and for them, in their opinion, better politics, and it allows them to have the next chapter of their lives look like they wanted on their terms versus being in an area where crime might be higher, the cost of living is much higher, stuff like that.
And I agree with you. I think, I don't think, obviously, you don't make a move in your portfolio due to politics, but you might make a change to where you live due to the political climate, and then you have to adjust someone's financial plan accordingly and make sure they're looking at it intellectually and from a lifestyle perspective.
Agreed.
I've got two words for you. The villages.
Stop it with the villages.
When we get back, we're going to talk about, does Social Security have a trust fund solvency problem? Well, yeah, but those age 35 or younger, they're going to bear the brunt of it when we return here on The Real Investment Show.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hurricane season is here, and along the Texas Gulf Coast, we know how to prepare. What we don't always know is which way the storm will go, and if a hurricane does come your way, whether your house will flood. Fortunately, you can get flood insurance. Unfortunately, flood insurance rates have skyrocketed. Don't be at risk. Let the specialists at RIA Insurance assess your needs and shop your coverage for the best rates possible. Another service from realinvestmentadvice.com. Click on the insurance tab, realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Do you know what you don't know when hiring and retaining quality employees? Compensation is more than just wages. It's personal time off, the vacation days, healthcare benefits, a 401k. Do you know what's important to them? Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable, effective package that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And welcome back. Listen, we really do hope you can join us for our next Lunch and Learn on August 6th. August 4th, I'm sorry. That's at noon. And it's going to be a Zoom meeting. You can't sign up yet, but you will soon. But we're going to come up with these tips. Well, we have them already, obviously. 9-step inflation battle plan. This comes from study. This also comes from our discussions with clients who are really good at being solid stewards of their money and been through inflation nation before. Some of these lessons are from their grandparents and what they did to survive, right? So we hope you can tune in, sit in with us, have your lunch Thursday, August 4th at noon. We have the 10-year Treasury below 3% this morning. Futures are still down. We are in earnings season, the week right now, right? We're just starting it mostly by the end of the week. We did have a few companies report. Pepsi came out, had pretty decent earnings. And this is where money tends to gravitate in squishy cycles of markets. Food and beverage, you're always going to eat, right? It's just worry about margins and inflation pressure. But with Pepsi, it has such a diversified business. It's gone so much more aggressively into snack foods. It's really has paid attention to how people eat, how Americans eat, but how the globe eats. And it is reported in their numbers today. But we'll have big banks reporting this week. That's going to be important. The guidance of what they see. So, you're just going to be on this roller coaster as news comes out day by day. But I will tell you, you don't disrupt your portfolio based on this news. And as you get closer to retirement, I will tell you, you should be more conservative. It's something we talk about in the right lane class, that valuations are still cheap, are still expensive, and that you can't afford to lose. If you're 2 to 3 years from retirement, and Chris, you brought it up earlier, I am very concerned, and I brought this up last year to people who are retiring this year. I told them last year, I am very concerned you are retiring into a headwind for risk asset returns. What that means is your returns on stocks and bonds are going to be less going forward, and we have to plan accordingly. And also, sometime next year, we're going to have to really see where inflation is. I raised the inflation or the baseline inflation in plans about a year and a half ago. when everybody was talking about how inflation was transitory, and I was like, I don't think it's as transitory as everybody thinks.
Not at all.
Right. I mean, listen, think about it this way. Yes, we're going to see demand destruction. We're going to see prices come down. The problem is, what's the new plateau? When companies raise prices, they don't lower them again. We've had a rare opportunity for corporations to have some pricing power and raise prices. Now, they're going to shrink your product. We have shrinkflation going on. We've had that for years. It'll just be more aggressive as we go forward. So what we might see is that, hey, producer prices are still high. Companies can't pass on current costs. That's going to be margin pressure. That's something that the market's going to be listening to very carefully about margin pressure and the state of the consumer as we go forward. So that's where it's going to, it's going to be, I will tell you, companies that beat, I don't even know if they're going to do well. They might not drop as much as other companies, but it's going to be the forward guidance that we need to listen to as we go forward. So I know, again, we're Chris Behan. Chris talks to people from every walk of life, every day. So you talked about the political climate and the volatility. Anything else that stands out for you from the people that you talk to?
Well, they're looking for someone who can guide them and also listen to them. I think that's my biggest sounding point where people are talking. Mm-hmm. They tell me their advisor hasn't called them in a year or 2 years or 15 years. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Especially with the volatile market, they've asked them questions and they haven't responded. I think this is probably the best time to reach out to your client base or to whoever to chat with to get a better understanding of what's occurring in the market and how you can have provided a platform or a strategy to for them to weather the storm. Rich, you brought up something about lowering costs and stuff. If you go to the store and you go to the perimeter, so you go like produce, you go to the meats, dairy, and all that, you can see the prices go up. I mean, it's there, right?
Yes.
But if you go to the middle of the store, the boxes all are the same. But when you open up the box, all of a sudden half the crackers are in there, and you think someone made an error until you open up the next box, and the crackers are half or whatever, and the inflation's really there. And you can find it more in the middle.
As I'm listening to you, I'm realizing one thing. Well, you're eating too many crackers.
Well,
because you're opening one box and the next box and then.
Well, look at me. I'm fighting anorexia and I'm winning. No, so I mean, if you take a look at we'll go health food, yogurt. I mean, yogurt has gone from what 8 ounces down to 6, down to 5 ounces. I mean,
1972, they used to think yogurt was health food.
Yeah,
but Chris is carrying that forward into.
Well, it's all the sugar in it. My wife is a dietitian by trade, and she makes her own yogurt at home, and
that would make a difference.
Yeah, and it tastes different too. Mm-hmm. So you have to actually add something a little, as Brent would want, honey.
So, I think
Mrs. Behan's got a lot of insurance on Mr. Behan.
Do you think so?
Yeah, she needs to. I'm worth more.
But the listening part, and you and I have been working together for well over 2 decades.
Yeah, we met each other in 1999.
Yeah, so 2000 when we're almost
Rich, you know who sings that song? Let's keep it that way.
Okay,
focus.
So
I got to be the straight man on this?
You
Come
absolutely
on, man.
do.
Okay.
The one thing I think that, and you would always introduce me to people that wanted to look for me to help them. Most important thing an advisor should do is listen. And not listen to correct, listen to change a mind. But there are some people today that just want to vent their frustration.
Agreed.
They're not looking for you to tell them what to do. Now, I will tell you, there are some people that have good opinions that as far as what to do with the portfolio or perspective that an advisor can learn from. And that was sort of what I thought was the best thing the experiences I had with clients before I came here was that if they asked a question or said, hey, Rich, what about if we did this? And I'm like, I think that makes sense. So you're also there as an advisor not to just tell people what to do and follow the same line. I read an article the other day, and it was from one of the advisor rags. And it was all these advisors, and they all asked 10 advisors telling you what to do now in a bear market. Every one of them had the same advice. Why did you need 10? Stick to your plan. Don't worry. Markets come back. All of them had the same theme. And sometimes being force-fed the same junk gets tiring to investors because there is a different perspective, right? When people look at our strategy, right, Chris?
Yes.
When I talk to other people, they go, oh, you guys are market timers. You're market timers because we sell. We had a client the other day working with someone, and she had an opinion. She has another portfolio with him. And she goes, I have an opinion. What if we took profits in this stock? And he goes to her, oh, you're trying to time the market, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're trying to time the market. Yes, you are. Trying to time the market. You're not trying to time the market. Just because you have a sell discipline, just because you manage risk, does not make you a market timer. It makes you a market observer and to take action based on rules and a strategy. No strategy is 100% perfect. But I will tell you, managing risk when you go into a market storm is very important. It's not ride it out. Okay, if I'm 22 years old, I can possibly ride it out. If I'm 55, 60, 65 years old, how long am I going to have to ride it out? I'm losing the time factor. So when you look at how we manage portfolios, it's not market timing. It's not all out. It's all or all in. Look at the current portfolio performance. We had the worst performance of 60-40 portfolios in recent history, down around 16%, right? We might be down 10, 11% on that factor.
9.6.
What is it?
9.6.
Oh, thanks.
3.
And our stock allocated, stocks are down, what, 18%? I think we're down maybe, what, 10, 11, 12, something like that. In other words, we're not timing the market. It's like when you're out on the water. Let's think about this. Chris and I going boating. And his wife calls me. She goes, listen, at the right moment, throw him over. I've got $1 million of life insurance. Okay. All right. So we go into this big storm, right? And I don't say, Chris, let's just ride it out. Well, I might say that because the wife says, pick the right time. If we ride it out and we don't do anything, we don't close the sales, we just sit there and we ride through this storm, then Mrs. Behan says, okay, Chris is he's gonna lose. He's gonna fall right over. If we batten down the hatches and we do the right things, we'll get through the storm to the clear side.
Okay.
What we're doing right now is managing the storm. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, I prefer to use the roller coaster because if you start a roller coaster and end a roller coaster, you start in the same spot. So
okay.
If you start with $10,000 and it goes up and down, up and down, up and down.
And I could still get you off a roller coaster, Mrs. Behan. So you still could collect the insurance.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so tomorrow I think we got Danny and Tom Allen. Thursday I will be back, and then Friday, Financial Fitness Friday. So thank you for listening to the Real Investor Show. We are so happy you've been here. Chris Salcedo is next. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good day.
Always Sunday.